flag salute.
Notice of time and date for this meeting appeared in a notice dated June 5th, 2024. This notice was sent to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, the Time-Herald Tribune, as well as the Central Record newspaper. As a legal notice and sunshine notice in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it has also been posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building.
Record attendance.
Mr. McNaughton?
Here.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Present.
Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
All right. Now we have public comment. You have 4 minutes to make your public comment. Please state your name and address for the record. Who would like to go first?
Okay, John Drury, 14 Subway. On February 26th, approximately 100 people attended this meeting to ask for your help in pushing back on the DEP, those proposing closing roads in Ward and State Parks. Since then, 10 municipalities have passed resolutions against the DEP's plan. After that meeting, I met with Natalie Stone, and she worked on a draft resolution that I thought was a great compromise between what the people wanted and what your concerns were. On April 23rd, Natalie sent the draft resolution to Mark Hartman, asking for it to be added to the May agenda. Right here. Mark, you never replied to Natalie, saying whether you agreed or disagreed, or if you would or would not put it on the agenda. On May 13th, I sent you a follow-up email asking for confirmation that you plan to put it on the agenda. I haven't heard from you on that. Here we are, and the resolution is nowhere to be found. So first off, Mark, can you explain what happened to the resolution?
We already discussed it a couple of months ago that we wanted to see if the DEP plan was going to date the final plan before we made the decision. So we discussed it all then.
Okay, so you just wanted to ignore your fellow councilman's resolution? You didn't want to bring it up for
I told her
discussion?
that. I told her that.
Okay, that's news to her. So, regarding the town hall, it's my hope that with all the recent missteps and public outcry, that you're reconsidering your plans and will be establishing a subcommittee to seek funding and options for repairing town hall and scaling down the new complex. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make public comment?
Megan Ward, 931 Old Indian Mills Road, one of the people as seen in the New Jersey State Constitution. Having to do with the Town Hall, Oprah request number 2024-118 reveals that Tabernacle Township Committee members, officers, and employees have received 1,674 notices of maladministration and/or follow-up notices of maladministration from the people. These legal notices were served on or after October 30th, 2023 via email jot form expressing the grievances of the people and included instructions to cease and desist in neglecting this historic town hall. These actions were necessary due to the blatant disregard shown in multiple township meetings where public comment was cut off after 2 minutes, a direct violation of our New Jersey constitutional rights. See Article 1, Paragraph 6. Tabernacle Township respondents included Samuel R. Moore III, mayor at the time, Mark Hartman, deputy mayor at the time, Kimberly A. Brown, William J. Sprague, Noble McNaughton, Rodney R. Haynes, and Mary Alice Brown. Also receiving copies of every notice was the Burlington County Sheriff, James H. Kostopoulos, and Pine Barrens Tribune. That's 1,674 times that this board was legally and lawfully notified in writing with these grievances, reminded of their sworn oaths, and provided a chance to respond by affidavit to show us where they were granted such authorities. Not one response was received. Each notice states the following: all responses must be submitted by affidavit, point by point, sworn under penalty of perjury within 7 days of receiving this notice, or the respondent agrees by acquiescence that all statements in the notices are true and fact. Further, the respondent agrees that they are acting with full intent, knowledge, and malice by trespassing against the people, and that no court shall be able to rehear that matter, but it shall stand as evidence, truth in all courts of record. Additionally, notice of maladministration was served verbally on the record at Township Board meeting on October 30th, 2023, and follow-up notice of maladministration also served verbally on the record at the meeting on December 11th, 2023. Also served certified mail to each and every one of you. Still no responses. We have tried every possible legal and lawful effort to get you to hear us. Miss Mary Alice Brown's employment. Picture driving back home from LBI down Route 72. As you get closer to Chatsworth, you see a sign that says, "Welcome to Woodland Township." Now picture continuing your drive all the way through Chatsworth, all the way through Tabernacle, all the way to Shawnee High School. That is how much land Mary Alice Brown has control over through her multiple positions and shared service agreement 2022-63. She is currently employed in Tabernacle Township as the administrator and municipal clerk, our top two paying positions. She also holds positions in Woodland Township as the municipal clerk and is on their last land use development board. Tabernacle Township needed to hire a deputy clerk in 2023 to help her complete her duties in a timely manner. Multiple OPRA requests have been submitted through Tabernacle Township and Woodland Township to reveal the exact amount of Ms. Brown's total salaries in Tabernacle and Woodland. Ms. Brown, I have asked you directly, on the record, if you have anything to say about our grievances to your salary.
No, I have nothing to say.
At that time, you were non-responsive. It's a breach of the public trust. You have proven that you cannot faithfully hold these positions, and I would suggest you resign or are removed from your positions in Tabernacle Township effective immediately.
Thank you for coming. Anyone else with a public comment? Yeah, Mr. Brooks.
Good evening, Stuart Brooks, Moore's Meadow Road. First, congratulations to Mr. Barton and Mr. Euler. The incumbents lost so decisively they were impervious to public comment, hell-bent on an expensive municipal complex on a flag lot far from the village. Then they voted to demolish Town Hall after initially drawing a plan to keep it. I hope that they have the common sense to not obstruct filling the vacancy caused by Ms. Stone's quitting. Second, the official notice of this special meeting says it's for the purpose of selecting a candidate to fill that existing vacancy. It doesn't say anything about all the other business that's on the agenda. In fact, the agenda doesn't say anything about filling the vacancy. Administrative clarity continues to be a problem in Tabernacle. And setting aside for a moment those notice problems, will we ever have the clerk's hours posted in Tabernacle like they are in Woodland? Or will our webpage for the municipal complex ever indicate which plan was chosen? As for the notice, I don't think you've got jurisdiction to do anything more than fill the vacancy. That's all you said you would do in the official notice. How many people saw that notice and didn't show up because they believed what Clerk Brown said in that notice? If you do anything more than fill that vacancy, you're cheating them out of the opportunity to speak up, be person to be heard on all those other items. Better to fill the vacancy at this meeting as you advertised. Do your regular business next meeting. It's not far away. That will allow proper notice and allow the new member to get their feet wet. Third, it's time to replace the mayor. Mr. Hartman shouldn't be directing the committee's agenda or working with Clerk Brown in a leadership position as mayors get to do in Tabernacle. He pushed the agenda of the municipal complex and the demolition of Town Hall. Those all must be paused and re-examined. He's been absent for critical votes, especially last meeting, other times with no explanation, and he continues to defer to our clerk from Woodland Township rather than exercising leadership. Tonight's bad notice that doesn't match the agenda is proving that. This election shows it's time for a change. That's a change that really should be made immediately. I think, Mr. Hartman, you should resign now or be replaced immediately. Fourth, I'm very curious to see the minutes of that executive session. where you voted to file the motion to reconsider. In essence, that motion says the risk to public safety was so high that the judge should change his mind and allow Town Hall to be demolished without further analysis. I think it's crazy to argue that Town Hall is an immediate threat to public safety when you just reopened Tabernacle Road to public traffic. It makes no sense. If I was the judge, I would have ripped you a new one for making that argument, taking my time, and wasting plaintiff's time and money on an argument like that. Tabernacle shouldn't pay anything for those legal charges. I wonder if the committee really voted to file that motion. There were only 4 members, 2 of the 4 publicly opposed demolition. I doubt they changed their mind. I suspect that the motion really wasn't made clear to them, and the minimal likelihood of success wasn't analyzed either. This executive session vote has the earmarks of being real fast and real loose. And I look forward to the discussion among those 4 committee members who were present when the approval of those minutes is publicly taken up. I mean, I want to hear how they view whatever it is that's written to justify that motion, or what was said in that executive session. I also want to hear the explanations of our clerk and attorney too, who supposedly accurately reflected and supported and wrote what actually transpired, because the vote on that motion just doesn't seem to square up with anything else that's been said in public or any other rational arguments made.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks, for your comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you resign as mayor.
Mark Lemire, 32 Washington Way. Well, actually, I was going to have a report a little bit later on the parade, but one thing I just have to amplify, and that is the closed road. I just even today, just trying to cross 206 on Flyer Road on a Friday night, as people start to find the beach, it is going to be a disaster. I know everybody here is acutely aware of that. I know you're trying to follow procedures. I know there's a judge involved. I know it's concerned about the safety of a building collapsing on somebody, but it has to be weighed against what we are dealing with right now. There is going to be a catastrophe on 206 and one of these crossroads since this road is closed. Again, I don't know if we have to amplify that too. I know everybody's acutely aware of it, but again, just like when they did a traffic study in Tabernacle on 206 in December, and it was a joke because obviously there's no cars in December. The inverse is true now. We are absolutely, every Friday on that road is going to be, it's just going to be it's a disaster. Right? It could happen tonight. And I know everybody's working it, but somebody's got to go and reverse this situation as soon as possible for some of these things. Thank you.
Christina Eckert, 490 Medford Lakes Road and 166 Flyer Road. My name is Christina Eckert, and I am an owner of RT Eckert Farms. I am here this evening to discuss the impact that the road closure is having on small local businesses and farms. First and foremost, we must recognize the integral role that our local businesses play in sustaining our community. These establishments are the lifeblood of our economy, providing goods, services, and employment opportunities for our residents. The road closure has disrupted the flow of customers and traffic essential for these businesses to thrive. Whether it's the corner deli, the pub, the family-owned small business, or local farm stands, each of these enterprises relies on accessibility and traffic to remain viable. The road closure has not just jeopardized their economic stability, but also is threatening the livelihood of the hardworking individuals behind these businesses. Businesses who tirelessly give back to the community, whether publicly or anonymously. Furthermore, we cannot overlook the significant impact that this newest road closure is having on our local farms. Agriculture is deeply woven into the fabric of our community, with many families relying on farming as their primary source of income. Farms require regular access to transport goods, equipment, and livestock to market or fields. The interruption to this essential access has disrupted planting and harvesting schedules, which is now leading to financial losses for farmers and potential shortages of locally grown produce for our community. While I'm speaking in general terms of all businesses and farms, we personally farm 500 acres throughout Tabernacle. We depend on having access to and from our main farm located at 490 Medford Lakes Road to our other properties. The proposed routes that we are being asked to follow are not feasible during our peak season, nor is it fair to our neighbors to burden such liability. Such routes include cutting through neighbors' properties, going into their fields or parking lots, moving or going around barriers, which not only makes us liable, but means getting off and on our tractor 2 times per trip. After we were told to do this, more barriers were placed up, which now makes this impossible. Going on to 206 to Hawkins or Flyett, essentially making us have to travel an extra 3 to 5 miles to go less than half a mile from our farm. This is also a major safety concern given the equipment we are moving. During this time, we also depend on local and shore traffic to help support our roadside stand. We are losing business by the day. Customers think that they cannot access the road because of sign placement on Medford Lakes Road. We have asked the township to have flashing signs on 206 that would put out information to allow our customers to know that we, along with other businesses, are open and are accessible. That has not happened, which shows failure for members of the committee to realize how farming operations work. If this road closure continues, it will have a devastating impact on our farm. However, we must consider the broader implications of the road closure on the community's well-being. Our local businesses and farms are not just economic entities, they are the pillars of our social fabric. They contribute to the unique character and charm that makes Tabernacle a place that we are proud to call home. The vibrancy of our community stems from the diversity of our local establishments and the connections forged between neighbors there. In light of these concerns, I urge the Township Committee to petition the judge and explain the ramifications the road closure is having on our small local businesses and farms. I am overhearing how your hands are tied or that you are one person and can't do anything. You have the power to support the members of your community. While I understand that the judge could deny your petition, you owe it to our small businesses and farmers to try and to keep trying. Thank you.
Anyone to give a public comment? Anyone?
My name is Mary Ann Holloway. I live in the Pinelands. On the agenda, under executive session, there's going to be a discussion supposedly about the purchase of 144 Carranza Road. Under Robert's rules, I think this board knows that you can't go into an executive session or just randomly put something in an executive session without first having a motion made, having it second, and having it go for a vote with the majority of the council to vote on the subject. The way this whole situation has been conducted in the shadows needs to stop. You cannot illegally nor follow, just pick and choose which rules you're going to follow and how they're going to be done. That needs to come out of the executive session. You know by Robert's rules that can't happen and no random member of council can decide what is talked about behind closed doors and what isn't. That is not part of litigation. It is not about a town employee. So I don't know how it got there, but I would like to know now if somebody's going to do it the right way, per procedural rules, and not do it in the shadows.
The Open Public Meetings Act allows discussions about the acquisition or sale of real property to be held in executive session, as does the Open Public Meetings Act allow contract negotiations to be discussed in executive.
But this council has adopted Robert's rules, and although it may be part of some other section, you run your meetings based on those rules. Are we gonna pick and choose to have it be so you can facilitate what you like behind closed doors, rather than do it per procedural rules?
I understand your position, however, state law trumps Robert's rules. The Open Public Meetings Act, which is a state law in New Jersey, allows these topics to be discussed in
And the
executive.
solicitor's not here to determine
me.
which one is correct. Are you,
Not the
as a
solicitor.
governing board, Mr. McNaughton, Mr. Sprague, are you gonna bring it out in the open and make a motion and do it so everybody can hear what's happening. I understand exactly what he's saying. I understand exactly, and I also understand what's happening. So, any member of council can make a motion. It needs to be by the majority. And if you're doing something that is perfectly legitimate, bring it out in the open. I know that you're gonna sit there and look at me, but I'd like an answer. Which one are you gonna pick? Are you gonna pick to represent and do it out in the open so people can hear? Or are you gonna go into the shadows and do it, and you're gonna pick a state law versus procedural rules versus this? I think you all know that this needs to go to a vote. It needs to be made a motion, you need to have a vote on it, and it needs to be a majority.
Ma'am,
There is
I'm
something
sorry.
wrong with what's
It's
happening.
on the agenda for a vote to go into executive session. But that,
Nobody's made a motion on this. I'm talking about 144 Carranza. It's not part of litigation and it's not but
in order to go into executive session, the committee as a whole has to pass the resolution.
you have 3 items there. I'm
There's
talking
two.
about 144 Carranza.
There's 2 items tentatively scheduled for executive session.
It looks like 3 to me.
Okay, there's 144 Carranza, and
Correct.
then there's the discussion of the pending litigation, which is Rowan.
That I can understand behind closed doors.
Those are the only 2 that are subject of the potential resolution to go into executive session.
I still
But that
think-
has to be approved by the committee in order to get into
I
executive.
still take the position that 144 Carranza Road has to come out and have its own separate motion.
Thank you.
And have-
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for the public comment?
Hi, Catherine Crane, 60 Hawken Road. First of all, I'd like to start off with, people have spoken. You guys haven't been listening. We all came out Monday and guess what? It is what it is. Are you gonna listen now? This question, you have all these people here, they've been here for all these months now. Maybe a little too late for some things, but we're still here. We're not going anywhere. So I was questioning that, are you guys gonna listen now to fill out the rest of your term? Are you gonna listen to the public? That's my first question.
Always have listened.
Huh?
Always have listened.
Okay, that's questionable. All right, the second thing is, with the election, Mary Alice Brown, you're an election official. You were not here at the trailers when you were supposed to be, nor did you have it covered for that night. Your arrogance, when people speak about things that concern you, are very real and very public. It's not very nice. When I met you that night, you said, "Oh, it's covered, Eudra's here." She was not.
You're correct.
And I have
It was
pictures
not.
and date time, stamp time, but you
I
lied
didn't
to
say
me.
Deidre, I said my deputy, and my deputy was supposed to be there when you screamed at me in a dark parking lot, and I didn't even know
Oh, I didn't
who
scream at
you
you.
were.
You asked me
You
who
did.
I
I'm
was.
sorry, you did. I didn't even know
No.
who you were.
You
And
asked me and I told you.
I thought, right,
Exactly.
so.
I was there, where were
stranger
you?
approached you in a dark parking lot yelling at you, and you didn't
I
know
was
who
right
they
on the
were.
line. I can show you the pictures if you'd like.
I saw your pictures.
Okay. But you were late.
You're right.
Why
I
didn't you
was.
have it covered?
I had a deputy there. I didn't know
No,
she
you
had.
did not have a deputy.
May I finish speaking?
No, because I have finished speaking.
Don't ask me
Thank
a
you very
question.
much.
Don't
How
ask me a
about I
question
finish
if
speaking
you're not-
first, and then
You
you
ask
can
me a
respond to
question.
my answers. How's that? Because I have the floor right now. So thank you very much. You weren't there. You came wheeling in on 2 wheels at 10 minutes to 9.
No, you're wrong.
Nobody
It wasn't
was-
10 at 9.
You want to see my phone? Nobody was there. Deidre wasn't there. I don't understand why you didn't have that covered. That's your job. Nobody had it covered. You weren't there. Bottom line. Now, if you'd like to respond, go ahead.
Are you sure I'm allowed now?
Oh, yes. You know what? See, there's the arrogance that you show in front of everybody in our township.
I pull into a parking lot.
We pay you,
somewhat
by the
dark.
way.
Are you gonna let me respond now?
Sure.
I pull into a somewhat dark parking lot, some person hangs out of a truck screaming at me that I'm late. I didn't even know who you were. At that time, I assumed I had a deputy in the building. It wasn't until you said, no one's here, that I realized her car was on. When I walked into the office and called her, she had had an emergency and had not yet called me to tell me that.
Okay. Okay.
It wasn't-
So she didn't communicate with you earlier in the night that she had an emergency and had to leave?
Ms. Crane, apparently she had just left. I don't know.
I don't think
When I
that's
called
true
her,
statement.
well,
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
You know what, good for
It's
you.
your word
Cover
against
your,
my word.
cover your butt as much as you want. I disagree,
that's fine, you certainly have
and
the
I have the right
to.
to do so. I think you're full of it,
Okay.
not the lie to you.
Go to the cameras.
So the other problem is, I went to, on behalf of Efforts and everybody, I went and talked to the parishioner today at the church. And I'm sorry, I got nowhere, but I felt bad for the farmers, so I wanted to address that. That needs to be taken care of as soon as possible. They're struggling. It's a mess. You guys need to fix this. It's been dragging on for too long, nobody's doing anything. Things have become a lot longer, and other things not been filed, so I just think you need to address everything, and I think you need to be more cooperative with people and do your job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Raymond House Award. Some of you guys know me. I met this gentleman on bad terms. Unfortunately, I'm just one of the guys here. I appreciate you taking care of what you did at my house and the way we did it was peaceful, honestly. And I thank them for that. But I couldn't be, I might not be alive today because of that situation you all got me into for shutting that road down. They could have shot me in front of my family. You happy about that? You guys know I'm a hardworking family man from this town. I do everything I will to stick up for this place like my great-grandparents did. And the highest law here is the New Jersey Constitution. You said the state law is the higher than the Robert's Rules. Well, the New Jersey Constitution trumps that. All right? So, you guys as our trustees and servants need to figure something out. You guys can make a motion to make her disappear. Nobody's happy with this shared service agreement. We sent 1,670 something notices to you guys. Not one response. You said you've been listening to us. I always listen, you just went. You haven't sworn to any of these facts that we've been showing you guys. We're trying to be nice to you. You're our neighbors, and we're civil people. You know what I'm saying? We tried to be nice, so we had to put it on documents to just show you guys you're doing wrong here. This is unbelievable. It's warring against the constitutions that you swear to uphold. You know, it's the contract you guys have with us, man, and it's serious. And I know you guys got all the affidavits that I swore to that you guys got all that stuff, and they're being investigated federally. This stuff's going. The Supreme Court's got it. The Burlington County Sheriff's got it all. We're begging for help here. We're showing everybody what you've done. And we're just asking you to either resign or fix it. Because I didn't get no responses to the affidavits that I asked you to respond to. And the unrebutted affidavit stands as true. Amen.
Anything else with the public left?
Oh, I'm gonna do it. Super nervous.
You go for it, kid.
Here we go. I wrote this, so I'm gonna say it. Okay. I'm Kim Ware, Grandin Road. I find logic to have gone completely out the window on this town hall matter, and I'm obliged to request answers that we deserve and should be provided with. At the March 25th meeting, there was consensus from the public comments that the building was not in immediate danger of falling onto Metro Lakes Tabernacle Road. In fact, there were folks offering options to create a committee to figure out ways to save the building with a generous donation. Needless to say, there was hope. Again, no sense of urgency was expressed. Had it been known or reported up to that point, the public comments would have been drastically different. It wasn't until after public comment an unsupported claim was made that the building had the potential to fall onto the road. What that potential, that remains a mystery. The claims went from a building being unoccupiable to being at risk for falling down, and again, not to fall on its own footprint, which from my understanding is the most probable when a building is said to fall, but but it was declared to be at risk to fall on its side onto a public road. There were repeated requests for factual proof of that claim, and had there been true monitoring of the building's demise, such as this measurement was taken on this day, and again, a second measurement was taken 2 weeks later, the rate of change would indicate the building will be falling on the road on such and such date, that would be logical. Were those measurements performed prior to closing the road? Or at the very least, what is the percentage of chance that the building will be falling on the road by the end of this year? As far as I could find on the town's website, there was not a single report up to March 25th by any professional that had any reference to the probability of town hall falling onto the road. However, with no evidence, the road was closed from March 26th to April 24th, an entire month of revenue affected by all the businesses in town, as well as frustration from everybody with what proof. Moving on to April 8th meeting, the vote to have a third-party structural engineer with historical experience to assess the building was quickly shot down, but oddly, a pre-selected engineer was chosen by Hartman, Moore, and Stone, one that, as far as I could find, was an expert on building Popeyes restaurants and highway public bathrooms, was somehow a more appropriate selection. Why? Why was that engineer a better choice? If town hall is truly at risk for falling over onto the road, you as a committee should be more than happy to appease the public and let us waste our own money on bringing in a qualified structural engineer to confirm the claim. In fact, that very option was presented multiple times. Instead, now it's costing us more money and wasted time by going through with this litigation. For what? All answers could have been given if at the March 25th meeting you reversed your decision and opted to investigate saving the building. It is now May 20, well, on whatever day it is, like June 7th, sorry, this was supposed to happen the last meeting. We are still in a holding pattern, and the building still hasn't fallen over onto its side. What are we doing? We could have come together as a committee to explore every option to save it, shore it up, and move it by now. In addition, who dropped the ball for the parade? The town hall was overgrown with weeds. Why couldn't it have been cut? Why was Rico Demolition in the building at 8:30 p.m. that Tuesday night before if it wasn't to take down their signs for a respectful Memorial Day ceremony? At the very least, you could have given the old girl a little attention to show respect for her 150-year-old presence. I mean, this year is her big 150. Further, how much money has it cost the town to close the road? Why aren't you following the historical ordinance for town hall? Why can't Public Works be moved to Old Indian Mills Road to make room for town hall at its existing site? How much money has been spent thus far on 144 Grants Road? Do Pinelands credits need to be purchased to build on 144? If so, how many? What will be the expected property tax percent increase on the current 144 building? What will be the yearly operational costs on the Public Works and town hall new builds? All these questions with the town hall should have been explored before you spent tons of money trying to build some fancy build. Lastly, why not just pass the open roads resolution? These are the questions we want answered. Thank you.
Anyone else who would speak?
Hello, Bruce Bidder, 27 Lincoln Drive. I did notice that you guys have already taken the town hall off the webpage. Everything's not over yet, so that's kind of premature, I would say. Also, I've been in construction all my life and actually been on historic renovations for the last almost 2 years. There's no reason why you can't crib up that building underneath. It was the foundation of the issue. You can crib it up 5-10 grade in while all this stuff is going on, and we can settle this out. And you close the road, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Bicycles got hit.
Life-threatening. You're
Yeah.
inconveniencing everybody in this town for no good reason. No good reason at all. You know, that building could be cribbed up temporarily, made safe, with no problem, really. It's done all the time. So I don't really understand what's going on. And taking the picture of the town hall off the webpage was really just like you made your decision already. You know what I mean? Get rid of the building, it's gone. It's ghost. It's really, you know, I don't understand. You have all these people here saying they want that building. You know, they want the road to open back up. You're inconveniencing everyone. I really just don't get it at all. Why that can't happen. And have another engineer, independent, come in and check this building out. Foundations can be repaired. I just did a project for 12, 13 months, repairing the whole foundation, repairing all kinds of things. Stone foundation, rubble stone. all done, federal government job. It can be done, anything can be done with enough time, effort, and money. And from what I understand, people are independently willing to put money out to make this happen. So I don't understand why this can't be done. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Brian Serafini at 100 Hawkins Road. It's in regards to Hawkins Road is what my concerns is about. I've been asking Public Works for a week now if I can have a comprehensive plan of the detour route that you've submitted, and I've been unable to secure that plan. Mrs. Brown, Mr. Burns, do you have that plan available for me?
Mr. Serafini, I'm sorry, you haven't asked me to provide you with that.
I've been
plan.
asking Bart for a week
I
now.
didn't know you were looking for it.
I've been asking Bart for a week
The
now.
engineer's office has the detour plan.
They said they do not have it. Bart told me he does not have it.
No, the township engineer's office, Pinoni.
Okay,
I can call him Monday and get a copy of it.
okay. I'd really like to have a copy of that plan,
Sure.
because I wanna know where the detour is going, because we have one arrow coming down Farrington Road at this point. And everybody feels that it is the right to come down Hawkins Road now as a detour. Is that the case? Have you pushed them down Hawkins Road?
No, I spoke with the engineer just last night about it, because I drove the detour, and I am noticing that there are signs missing. When you're coming down 532 to the intersection, it tells you to make a right, and then there are no other signs. Same thing with going down Fly Road, it tells you to make the right down Fly, but then there are no additional signs.
Because,
I did see the
again, not to
engineer
interrupt
yesterday.
you, but again, the Pine Barrens Tribune, put out, with an interview with Mr. Eckert, in regards to him trying to traverse equipment down Hawkins Road, down Flyer Road, and it said to use Hawkins Road as a detour means.
No, we knew that we
So
weren't
can
going
you
to.
do me a favor immediately, effective immediately? Can you put a PSA out saying that this road is not a detour road?
Hawkins
Hawkins
Road is
Road.
not a detour.
Yes.
Are we okay with that? I can send it next out.
Actually, yesterday,
A little too late.
I like to go to a traffic light, so I take Hawkins. Sorry.
I have 80,000 pound trucks coming down my road. I have septic company that are coming down my road, 80,000 pounds loaded. I have multiple school buses, 15, 20 at a time, coming out of Seneca, coming out of Tabernacle. They're coming down the road. I just followed 2 Tabernacle Township buses. We have speed signs. They were doing 35 plus miles an hour, turning the corner. I would like you to talk to Tabernacle Township Bus Garage, Lenape High School Bus Garage, GST Bus Garage, and I would like these 2 gentlemen to talk to their commanding officer at the station, the post troopers on our road, to fix this problem. I was promised by Bart at Public Township that we will be getting no-through traffic signs put on our road at the start of Hawkins, or Carranza, and the start of Route 206. I would like to know when that's gonna be happening. He was talking to Tom Les about that, or Lise, and he said that they were getting the signs made. I'd like to have a date when those signs are gonna be made and posted.
We'll find out from Tom Lees, we'll see him on Monday night.
Okay, so we'll address this Monday night again?
Yes.
Okay.
Where
All right.
we're supposed to go? We just say come on the other side.
So I trust me, I get it, I get it. I'm concerned about my portion, I'm concerned about everybody's portion. This is ridiculous. I pulled out of my driveway yesterday, and a high school kid was passing somebody on the, coming down Hawkins Road, almost T-boned me. I had to pull into my neighbor's yard. They're gonna kill me. It's not fair. It's not fair. So you guys need to figure out what's gonna happen on there. And I know my time's up, but one thing I will address, Mr. Moore, you know what happens when you get pissed off. You push somebody to their limit.
You dug a trench across your road to stop people coming down your road, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Blocked the road.
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
and you stopped them, and you stopped them.
Thank you for your.
You stopped it.
Thank you.
Yes, we did.
Anyone else?
All I have to say is, all these people have questions, they addressed it to you tonight. You're looking at us with a blank stare. We want answers to all these questions tonight. Thank you.
Brian, House of Sherry, The Road. So tonight, as we sit without our fifth member, and actually, I respect former committee woman Natalie's decision, because when faced with the people's voice and the law, she made the correct decision. She removed herself from the equation because she was obviously not in alignment with our voice. Tonight, as we consider the selection of a new committee member, we must remain unwavering in our commitment to the fundamental principles enshrined in the New Jersey State Constitution, particularly Article 1, which articulates the enumerated rights of the people. Article 1, Section 1 of the New Jersey State Constitution declares, all people are by nature free and independent and have certain natural and unalienable rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and of pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness. Article 1, Section 2 emphasizes the people have the right freely to assemble together to consult for the common good, to make known their opinions to their representatives, and to petition for redress of grievances. Each member of this committee has taken a solemn oath, invoking the name of the Almighty God, to uphold and protect these rights. This oath is not merely a formality, it is a binding commitment to serve with integrity and honor. With the recent election results, where Joseph Barton and David Euler were chosen by the people, it is evident that the community's demand for leaders who will embrace and uphold these fundamental rights. Now, Mark Hartman and Samuel Moore, lame duck members now, must recognize the clear message sent by the people. It is crucial that all decisions made by this committee reflect the intent of the public trust and foster community confidence. This trust is built through transparency, accountability, and adherence to the principles of our state constitution. Maxims of law applicable here include: a public office is a public trust. The office holders must act with the best interest of the people. The law does not allow what is against reason. Actions taken must be reasonable and just. The people are the source of all political power. This reinforces the need for transparency and adherence to the people's will. Proverbs 11:3. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressions shall destroy them. Integrity must guide our decisions, not pervasiveness. As we deliberate on the selection of a fifth committee member, I urge the committee to remember your oath and the principles you have sworn to protect. This decision must be made with the utmost integrity, ensuring that the chosen individual will uphold the same values and principles. The people of Tabernacle and observers beyond are watching closely. We demand transparency, accountability, and adherence to the constitutional principles that protect our rights. In closing, let us honor our oath, stand by our word, and make a decision that reflects the highest standards of governance. Respect the will of the people and uphold the values enshrined in Article 1 of the New Jersey State Constitution. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to comment? All right. New business and order.
Not watching, Mark.
Oh, sorry, didn't see you, sorry.
Ben Morris, 1431-206. I just have a couple of questions. Have you guys ever shown any proof to these folks of the damage of the building?
Yes.
You guys have seen this damage?
It's, it can be fixed.
But, no, I'm saying, have you guys ever seen the damage?
No.
So, you see if there's a disconnect?
We saw pictures, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it's a
And already-
150-year-old
Oh,
basement.
I understand, well, that,
That
All
clean,
right, so, but there's a clear disconnect here, right?
well, clean
So,
that needs to be repaired, not.
right.
Yeah,
So,
like Ernie's Mill and Medford.
And the engineer you guys have used is saying one thing, the engineer you guys have used is saying another thing, right?
We have
They won't let us have an
an
engineer.
Just to be clear, please address all comments to the chair.
I'm sorry.
But to answer the question we had before, there's multiple reports on the website that detail what anybody's opinion doesn't damage, but it details what the engineers, the township engineers and professionals' opinions are. It's on the township website.
Okay,
No independent engineer has been in the building yet.
okay. But they deem it so that they may fall at any time, it's that dangerous enough to shut a road down, but not dangerous enough to put a capture net up to capture any falling debris to protect the concrete, any other debris, anything like that, right? Just a fence. While other vehicles parked next to it on the other side, things like that. Just making sure I'm following you, so your engineer's that good. Just making sure. I'm pretty sure if we have another engineer, they're gonna follow through and actually do what they're supposed to do. Right? I'm just making sure. Okay. So, a lot of people have said, and the gentleman said earlier, you can fix a lot of this stuff. It just takes time and money, and people have been willing to put the money. Why can't we work together on this? Why is there such a fight? I don't understand. And I guess that might be this issue. So I don't know why we can get together with some of the folks instead of fighting. I guess that's my biggest issue. That's it.
thank you. Anyone else?
Denise Hudson, News Conroe, just real quick, I thought, heaven forbid if the other engineer says it has to come down. Instead of the whole complex, why not rebuild like a replica of Town Hall that is up to code with everything the state requires? That's all.
Anyone else?
George Sunderwood, 206. This don't have anything to do with Town Hall, but I remember before that I heard you were talking to maybe the highway department about trying to make 206 a little safer. It was like a multi-car accident right in front of my house yesterday. Have you talked to anyone about that? About trying to slow down the traffic?
Mary Alice, we were part of that. Have you heard any more since our meeting with DOT?
I have not. When did we meet with them? What month was that?
It was a few months ago.
They asked for at least 6 months. They were gonna do they were gonna do studies. They said that it was.
6 months, right?
It was going to take at least 6 months.
What they did do immediately after that conference was they did, because there was a statement made in the conference that there wasn't sufficient stop signs or speed limit signs. They did go out after that. We did hear from them after that conference that there was sufficient number of signage according to the state specs. But they also requested additional time to put together a formal study or proposal to make it safe. But they did follow up immediately about the signage, but they said they were sufficient.
Right where 206 meets Carranza, right before that from the circle, it's like 4 lanes, and people are really moving. And then they get to 206 and Carranza Road, and you're still thinking it's okay if you're going that fast. And there's nothing to slow them down between there and the next light, which is
I'll reach out to the state police and talk to the commander and see if we can do anything with them now.
Maybe
Increase
a
patrols.
blinking sign up there, like slow down or something, you know?
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, move on. To new business and ordinances, a letter received from Natalie Stone.
Read that, Mayor?
Sure.
All right, so a letter from Ms. Stone to the solicitor, myself, and the mayor, dated May 9th, effective immediately, I resign.
Any more?
We have to take a vote to.
Yeah, I mean, you have traditionally done that, I would do it both as committee person.
So we need to go vote.
The office is deemed vacant upon delivery, but the past practice here has
I make a motion to accept this letter. I'll second.
both from the position of committee person and delegate.
Roll call.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague? Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. All right, filling a committee vacancy.
You want me to read the letter from Mr. Lemire?
Sure. Please.
The letter dated May 24th from May 21st, 2024. Addressed to Mr. Hartman and Mayor Hartman and myself from Mr. Lemire. The purpose of this letter is to address the vacancy on the Tabernacle Township Committee created by the resignation of Deputy Mayor Stone on May 9th, 2024, and communicated to me via email on May 17th, 2024. We certainly wish her all the best. As the chairman of the Tabernacle GMP County Committee, I am offering 3 names selected by our committee for consideration by the Township Committee to fulfill the balance of the first year of Natalie Stone's term. I understand that the committee will select Ms. Stone's replacement from the names pro-offered, and this person will complete the unexpired first year of her term. The names of the 3 candidates are Joseph Barton, David Euler, or Catherine Crane. Please let me know if you have any questions or require additional information. Respectfully, Mark Lemire.
I make the motion for Joseph Barton.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Before we do the swearing-in ceremony, this is the guy that Dave and I ran it. It was a gentleman's campaign, and his people spoke. Sammy Moore has been a friend of mine for over 15 years. I love his father, his children, Matt, and Sammy, and his wife, Penny. And I asked Sammy to swear me in tonight, so that we can begin to heal this community and stop all the name calling. You know, when I was a kid, I had 7 brothers and sisters. I grew up in a city called Gloucester City. And we used to have this saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt. Okay? We've heard a lot of sticks and stones and a lot of names. So it's time for all that to stop. We need to bring this community together, stop the name calling, stop all the nonsense in social media. I personally don't do social media, so I don't look at that, I don't read that, I don't pay attention to that. My father also had a saying. He said, you know, when they're talking about you, they're leaving everyone else. So if you all want to talk about me, you're welcome to do that. Okay? But today, I'm honored to have Sandy swear me in. My son Jesse, who lives right around the corner, is a school teacher in Camden. He has his brother's Bible, and we're gonna have a little.
There's one
swearing
thing I've
ceremony.
always said, I actually called Joe and congratulated him on the election. I didn't have Mr. Wheeler's number, or he would have had a phone call. I'm that kind of guy. I am a guy of integrity, regardless of a decision that you may not have agreed with that I did. but I can tell you, I told Mr. Barton, in the end of the day, we are friends. This is just politics. And in the end of the day, I don't want to lose friendships over it. That's what we're here. I am a man of integrity. Joe Barton's a good man. Dave's a good man. And you know what? Life goes on, and we're here to support one another. So I'm honored to do it, Bruce.
Okay, let's get started.
Yeah, that's right there. Sorry. Okay, I think you know this game, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, I state your name,
I, Joseph W. Barton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
and that I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United
and
States
to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of Township Committeeman
all the duties and
of the office
the office
of Township Committeeman of Tabernacle Township, according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
So, see you know. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
Just a few other parts that I did my seat.
Photo?
So. Congratulations.
Stand up.
This gentleman here, my son, I'm very proud of him. He's getting your own back. He's the artist. My family moved here in 1978 from a town called Gloucester City when Jesse was talking to little boys. When they were little boys, I didn't want to raise them in the city like I was raised in Camden and Gloucester. And we used to come out here to camp in the Tabernacle. I had a '63 Volkswagen bus, a convertible top, 21 windows. I wish I had it today. And we used to take it in the woods, and we would find a place down a dirt road near a stream, and we would spend the weekend. We stayed in the campground for 2 summers in Boxing, which is now Badwood Gardens. And Jack and Gene Allen became my boy's third set of grandparents. That's how we found Tabernacle. And when I came to Tabernacle, I worked for utility, 54 years, and I saw the development. And I said, I don't want to get caught up in the development. So we moved all the way out here. Fortunately, it was before finance. And we built our home, and we lived there ever since. I coached my boys in sports. I met so many wonderful people. Rick Franzen was one of my first assistant coaches. His boys were on my team, as well as many, many other. Nathan Tyler, our state senator, was on my team. His father and I coached the boys. So we went through all the sports. Rick, another guy, and myself, we started the soccer league. We built the racks. We built the dugouts at the ball fields. We did all kinds of wonderful things, and so did many, many other people. And during that time, I met the real tinies. Right? I met the little kids who were my boys' ages, you know, and they became lifelong friends. Jimmy Zimmerman, who owns the junkyard, his whole family is like my family, and many of you are. And I'm proud to be here, and I want to see everyone else come together. And we move here for a reason, right? Because we don't have sidewalks, we don't have curbs, we don't have streetlights, right? We don't have convenience stores.
Yeah, we got street lights.
I mean, not in front of every house.
We have lightning bulbs.
Yeah, so we came here for the quality of life at Tabernacle. And by the way, we have a wonderful school system, right? So people come here to raise their children, but also people are staying here. You know, I've been in my same house for 47 years. I have several neighbors that are retired that have also been here. So as we make the decisions as the committee at Tabernacle, we have to be mindful of what that tax is going to cost us. We have a major project that we're looking at, and we're hopefully going to re-examine it. Hopefully, you know, we're going to work really hard, I'm sure with all four of these gentlemen, to find a way to get the road open as soon as possible. That's gonna be the number one goal. And of course, from there, my goal is also to preserve town hall, whatever that comes to be, and hopefully you'll all be part of that decision-making, and we'll get to the right place at the right time, and hopefully we'll have more civility in these meetings. And we won't need to have state troopers here. You know, we didn't have them when I was on committee before. I appreciate that. I actually served on the museum board for many, many years with Colonel Williams. And Colonel Williams, by the way, swore me in at town hall many times when I was elected there. So no reflection on you gentlemen, but we'd rather have you on the street patrolling. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about in the future about patrolling this through here. And hopefully we can take care of that. So I thank you for your vote on Tuesday. And I thank all four of these gentlemen for their vote tonight and their trust in me. And I will work hard to do the best I can for you. Thank you.
All business ordinances? So we have a vacancy of deputy mayor. We have a vacancy of deputy mayor. Just wanted to take a nomination for a deputy mayor spot.
All right, so there's two things. One, does the committee want to address the vacancy in deputy mayor tonight? And two, there has to be nominations made for that, just like there was every.
I'll make the motion, no.
Take a second. Okay.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. McNaughton?
Sure,
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
And I should ask, Mr. McNaughton,
Yes.
are you accepting the?
I'm accepting.
He's shaking his head no for something.
He's still not.
All right, all business and ordinances.
Wait, you gotta be sworn in.
I'm sorry about that.
Do you want me to swear you in? Is that okay? You want me to video? You ready? Raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of deputy mayor to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Now, don't ever expect me to give a speech like that. I'm a man of few words. I'm a man of action. Thank you
Taking him out
There's
first.
always no.
Nothing else, we're going to community comments. Comments? comments.
Okay. Let me loose here. All right, I do want to make a motion. I thought hard about this, and, actually, as you see when I read it, I asked for some legal, advice. And, so here goes. It has to do with the town hall and the vote to, the demolition of it. I make a motion that all township employees, professionals, contractors, officers, and agents are expressly prohibited from demolishing or taking any steps in furtherance of demolishing Tabernacle Town Hall. And all township employees, professionals, contractors, officers, and agents are further prohibited from taking any action that may impact the structural integrity of Tabernacle Town Hall or otherwise compromise the building until further action by the committee is taken by the committee of the Township of Tabernacle. Now, the reason for this, that I'm concerned, is the judge at some point is gonna make a determination. And if that judge says, okay, you can tear it down, the contractor can come in the next day because of the previous motions to do that. And I don't want him to do that until this committee has another say. That's the purpose of this motion. I have someone to second it.
Thank you.
Just a question, hey, Bill, with,
Can I just interrupt you real quick?
Go ahead.
What was that second? I'm sorry. Spratt.
how does it work since it's in the judge's hands? I have no idea, Bill.
The committee, I mean, what's in the judge's hands is an injunction. This committee has the absolute authority to make a decision what they want to do.
Do you have integrity, Sam? I need your help.
I mean, the only wrinkle would be if the judge ordered the immediate demolition of the property, but an emergency meeting would be called. But you have the ability to determine what happens with your property.
It just gives us a second chance to discuss it, if the judge says that, what that's all.
Who wants us to wait?
No, I'm in support of your, motion, I would second it, and, would like to add. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can I speak before we vote?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've gotten to where we are, and it's been a process, and there's been a lot of reports, and as the solicitor said, you go on the website, you could read those reports, I've read them several times. And now it's in the hands of a third party, a firm from Philadelphia. They're gonna do an evaluation of the building. And their evaluation of that building hopefully can be expedited, so they get it done sooner. And whatever they determine is gonna go back to the judge. I think what this motion being introduced and second does, it allows us to take a look at what that decision is before the building gets demolished. And be able to make a decision of what is the best course of action based on that independent structural engineer's opinion of what's gonna happen to the building. It would be wonderful if that engineer was to say, the building is not in any danger of falling over anytime soon, whatever time they put on it, because then we could probably get our solicitor to go back to the judge and get the road open immediately. Now, if they come back and say that there's some problems that need to be addressed, then we can, as a committee, look at that, and maybe there's some things we can do to secure the building, again, to get the road open, be able to get the road open. But all five of us have to discuss that at that time.
Is there any date yet, Mary Alice, for the engineer to go look? I mean, the ones
No,
we picked, right?
no, the judge has not set the date or the parameters of the scope of work.
Okay.
But the engineer has been agreed upon by both plaintiff's counsel and defense counsel.
Is it gonna be soon, I hope?
This is the engineer that has been chosen.
All right, can I call
I'm not
the
sure
question?
if we
Call the
agreed.
question? Unless we're discussing the question, unless we're discussing the
But we're
question.
still discussing the motion. That's what we're doing.
I think we-
Are we ready for a roll call?
Yep.
Roll call.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague? Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. I would also like to have put on the agenda for Monday for discussing at the meeting, the workshop meeting, that we discussed putting out an RFP to an architect, engineer to do two things. Number one, what it would take to make the building stable in its present location so we can open up the road. And we have to put out an RFP. We can't just hire one. We have an order that says if we're gonna do something, hire someone to do something, we have to put out an RFP, which is a request for proposals. I believe it's like, we can put a limit of what, within 15 days or minimum?
I think it's 10 days.
10 days, I can just put out, we have to have an answer, a proposal within 10 days that we can decide at that point, okay, he's estimating it's gonna cost so much, we can shore up the building to do this, maybe we can do that. The second part of that would be two RFPs. The other one would be what it would take to move the building and stabilize the building. I've said all along, we've never gotten those costs. We don't know what those costs are. We need to know what they are. And we need to send out an RFP. So I want to discuss that Monday with the whole committee.
Can I make a suggestion? With respect to your motion, I think you can do it as one RFP, because I think from what you just said, that your intent is to try to appoint a professional services firm that either has an architect with maybe some historical expertise as well as a structural engineer with some historical expertise, and have them appointed as a special, either special architect or special engineer to look at all things to do with Tabernacle Town Hall, and then develop a twofold report. One, to figure out what it would take to shore up the building immediately, and then the second phase of that, which is not urgent, but would then be what it would take to move it, redo the foundation, and then move it back. Right, so that would be one RFP for the specialty architect slash engineer.
I just want to make sure that we get on the agenda for Monday, so we can discuss that.
Sure.
Do I need a motion for that, or?
Then they need 10 days, farmers can't wait 10 days to harvest their
You
crops.
have to, you have to authorize, you don't need a motion for that, it's gonna be put on the agenda.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Open the road.
What I was gonna ask though, if we do this and we do approve it, I get what you're saying, short it up, because I wanna see the road get open too. I've been wanting it open. If we do get it shored up, we could always lead into if we could, you know, we can entertain in our discussion on a possibility of a referendum going on if it is shored up. Right, with the building. If we do.
Absolutely.
Okay, because like I said originally, and then when we were said we couldn't wait that long.
But the referendum won't happen
Till November, yeah, okay, all right.
And also,
So-
the 10 days, I know the road needs to be open immediately, and I feel for you, but I believe by state law, we have to give them at least 10 days to get it back to us.
I just wanna be clear, and I think you are, but just so everybody understands, because I know the committee does, it's 10 days to receive the packets back, then the committee has to evaluate them and award, and there's gonna be a period of time from the time they're appointed to when they get the reports done, to then the committee authorizing the work, whatever the report. So this is not gonna be,
I think once we get the reports back, I hate emergency meetings, but an emergency meeting to deal with that ASAP.
but this is not gonna be,
No, I know it's not gonna be, it's gonna be as quick as we possibly can.
So my question is, and I wasn't on this committee last year when you received the proposals for services for 2024. But that went out to bid, right? And there was probably multiple engineering companies as well as all the other professionals that put in proposals for that. wondering if there were qualified engineers that bid for the engineer's position last year that have the requirements that we need, and if they did, could we use that bid and appoint them as a special engineer to do the RFP that Mr. McNaughton is speaking about? Or will we have to go back out to bid again?
I think you would have to go back out to bid, because one, so much time has gone by, and I think Mr. McNaughton wants a very specialized, tailored RFP, so we don't end up with a generalist, if you will.
I was just looking at, is there a way that there could be somebody that's qualified, that's in those papers, that we could expedite it, but if that's not possible?
It might be expedited in of itself. And what I will do on Monday is I will write a letter to the court asking the court to not expedite the decision, but to expedite the, not the award, but the appointment of the expert agreed upon and set the scope of work. And per the committee's recommendation to exactly say, have the court do it, right? Because then if the court does it, it's faster than going through the RFP process and everything.
So, Mr. Berners, could we have an opportunity to weigh in on that scope of work with the court? Like, could we say that we would like the engineer, as part of our suggestion for the scope of work, to give us an evaluation of the integrity of the building and a timeline that it may fall? And could they also give us a scope of work of what it would take to secure the building in place?
I think you just did.
Yeah, but I think I like that.
Can we do that?
That's where.
That would be the fastest way,
So
right?
what I was intending to do, with the court, with the letter on Monday, would be to ask the scope, and I don't believe plaintiffs will be object to it, would be to, one, appoint the firm that you have in front of you, which was agreed to. And then that task that firm to make a determination as to whether, as to the integrity of the building, one. Two, I'm gonna expand your scope a little bit. Two, to make a determination of whether the building is in imminent danger of falling over. I'm gonna change that wording a little bit because it shouldn't be collapse. Three, what it would take to move the to make the building immediately stable. And four, what it would take to move the building, do the foundation and move it back.
Including ours?
Yes.
That's a good idea, that'll get it done a lot quicker.
Mr. Burns.
That's my one for the day.
A more pointed thing is to secure the building in place, because it's very expensive to move the building. The original proposal that came down was to secure the building, to stabilize the building, I'm sorry. And that was $1.2 million. But that was not to say that the building was to stabilize it in place.
No, I understand. So it's fourfold. It's the actual integrity of the building as it exists now. Two, whether or not, in their expertise, they believe that the building is in imminent danger of collapse. Three, the costs associated with, I don't want to say emergency, but immediately stabilizing the building in place, whether it's through a system or exterior post or whatever. And then four, what it would take with cost to move the building, redo the foundation, and move the building. Okay.
Because that works out good, because we're paying that engineer anyway.
Half.
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 So you would have to get the plate that's in front of
I don't foresee that being.
If we're asking to expand the scope of work, could we change that half to have them pay a quarter, we pay 3/4, which we're the ones that asked them to expand the scope of work?
What I would suggest is that they pay half of the first two, and that the township committee then pays for the next two.
For the extra.
So we pay half for the first two, they pay half for the first two, the township committee would then pay all of it for the next two. If the judge is so willing to do it.
Mr. Burns, what's the penalties for defying the judge's order in opening order?
Significant. Significant monetary.
No, I'm serious. What is it?
Significant monetary penalties, as well as, this committee cannot do it because this committee cannot act ultra vires. What that means is this committee cannot act contrary to a judge's order or the law, and if they did, they could be removed.
What if Tom
Boyd and Panoni retracted their comment that's in danger of falling in the river.
Well, the problem is, and then if I may, it's not just Tom Boyd, the construction official, and the township engineer. It's Tom Boyd, the construction official, Tom Lees from Panoni, the township engineer, an engineer from SE2 Consulting out of Philadelphia, an engineer from, I always get it wrong, Beach Engineering Firm, as well as Scott England, the township architect. All have said that, and in fact, Rye Bread, the township architect, has actually gone on record saying the road has to be closed.
It's great we're all talking, but it sounds like any avenue you go is a month or more of the road still.
Well, I will tell the people here, and I'll share it with the committee as well. The committee made a decision to open the road, not because the building, no, it didn't. So the township committee made a decision to open the road, not because the building was unsafe, but they balanced the harm that the road was closing to the building.
It outweighs it.
And the committee found that all the harm, that the theft of the signs, which equated to not being able to clearly follow a detour, the people running through the barriers
Is there
themselves.
camera footage of that?
Yes. The people running through the barriers themselves intentionally and then backing over the barriers and then running them over again. Yes, there's camera footage of that. The danger that it poses to the public with respect to farming vehicles driving around the detours or through the detour or down 206. The fact that people were driving through the church parking lot, the Church of the Holy Eucharist when Mass was going on in danger. So the committee took all of that into account with that resolution.
What did the judge say that Wayne was?
He wasn't particularly happy with me, because he found that when he issued the first order, that the order intended to maintain the road closure, despite those actual words not being in the order, and the argument that the committee weighed the dangers and the balancing test to persuade him.
Well, now that we're having a serious conversation, it seems like everybody's in agreement. We go back to the judge and present that again, that closing the road is potentially worse than.
Well, I will say that I'm gonna go no. So we need to find a different way to do that.
Monetary penalties, are we talking, what are we talking?
Jail time.
Well, and they would be removed.
I'm asking for real.
Why is it a no? Why is it a no?
The court will not consider opening the road. So what we need to do is,
The decisions you guys made.
the township needs, and the court needs to open the road, a certification from an expert saying that the building is not an imminent danger to public health and safety, and that the building is not an imminent danger of collapse. That is what
My family was next to that building at that.
That is what the court is requiring to, I don't wanna say it, because that's up. That is my understanding of what the court will require.
One more than that. Can we just have an emergency, or somebody just secure the building up? Emergency, like next week.
Jack that floor up, make it stable.
Brace the wall.
Instead of 10 days for estimates and this and that.
But we got the engineer coming to look at it, so we can do, so. I don't.
I know what you do with that thing you have to say.
Emergency declaration, hire somebody to stabilize the building, whatever it takes, open the road. Anything that.
I think you guys that restored White's Love to our patients.
Mr. McDonald, with everything that's been discussed here now, and Mr. Burns going to be petitioning the court on Monday, are you withdrawing your motion to change the agenda?
Because it depends on what happens with the.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna authorize the letting of an RFP, the committee's gonna authorize the letting of an RFP on Monday. We're also, they've directed the lawyer to contact the judge to see if the judge will expand the scope and do all those things. Okay.
Oh, wait, well, I'm sorry, I have one other thing, that when this inspector is appointed, or architect appointed by the judge the building, Mr. Bussey will not be with him, is that correct?
That's up to the committee.
I don't think
Usually, I thought it was Tom Boyd has to be.
So it was
Tom Boyd.
Tom Boyd needs to be.
the only person who accompanied him is the construction.
Just Tom, that's it.
Hi.
Great. Okay.
How about you?
Mr. Speck.
Yeah,
How about having committee member?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Why
Because it's been deemed an unsafe structure.
Tom Boyd, but we can't.
All right, please, yeah, Mr. Speck.
Yeah, I have a comment.
But it sounded like, right?
All right, but before, I don't wanna interrupt you, but we need to, are we done?
Yes.
With Tabernacle Town Hall? Okay.
Can I make a suggestion? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr.
The
Speck.
judge, part of the ruling was that the judge said the road should be closed. It's a two-lane road. Can you close westbound, the side closest to town hall, have it monitored by law, public officials that control traffic on the side away from town hall? That way business can operate, and people can still get around. You're still respecting the
The initial proposal to do that, because they talked about alternate traffic and such. However, the proposed collapse radius, that the court is aware, is across the entire.
Hold on, please, Mr. Speck.
I have a question.
Yeah, hold, please, let Mr. Speck.
Yeah,
Right.
We have a complete committee here. This is the rules and the I believe it's gonna be on the agenda for Monday, but is that something we can make a motion and vote on tonight, just to give some relief to some?
It's not on the agenda, I don't think.
You guys, yeah, then can I make a motion that we vote on the road closure for Wharton tonight?
Well, what I would suggest with that, if I may, because we need to keep this procedural, is, one, I don't know if the committee knows what the resolution would be this evening. I think what the committee could do, if so inclined, is make a motion to direct me, I guess, I'm gonna have a busy weekend, or to Ms. Stone's former resolution, or whatever resolution there is, and place that resolution on the agenda for Monday, so the committee has an opportunity to do it. But does the committee have a draft agenda or a proposed agenda, not agenda, resolution?
Do you have a copy of that,
He does.
Mark has it in his email.
Which, are we talking about Ms. Stone's?
Are you talking about Ms. Stone's resolution? I'm clarifying, we're talking about Ms. Stone's resolution, I can forward it to committee this weekend?
Mr. Speck, you have anything else?
I have a question.
Can I clarify, we're adding that resolution to the agenda for Monday night?
Yes.
On the consent agenda, or do you want it under the resolutions, so that it has more discussion?
Resolution.
Under resolution.
And that way, so it's gonna go in as drafted, and now the committee will have an opportunity to review it between now and Monday. And if any member of the committee has any amendments to it, they can make them from the floor, as it's not on the consent agenda. Okay?
I have a question. Since the road closure is the biggest, most eminent problem that is going on right now, should the scope of work for the engineer include all of that stuff? Or is it possible to do it in stages? And the first thing be, let him look at it and decide if the building is in imminent danger of falling down. If it's not in imminent danger of falling down, can the road be opened? So can it be done, instead of 4 points, can it be done 1 point first, so that can be resolved, and then the rest of it can take as long as it takes?
Joanne, I think that's what was discussed, you might not have
I
heard.
probably did.
For all that, that's what was said,
I have a question,
when the
too.
engineer, right?
You know,
I have a question too.
we can also talk about some other litigation strategies and executive session.
Okay.
Mr. Bird, the resolution point, could, when you raise this proposal to the judge, would you ask that it be done in phases and report immediately?
I think if we have a discussion, executive session, but an idea that I just had, we can.
Okay.
I just want to apologize for the last meeting I missed. I got held up in New Jersey at a meeting, and when I got out at 5 o'clock, Garden State Parkway up north was a parking lot. I didn't get home until almost 7:30. I just want to give my deepest, hardest apology from this last
Well,
meeting.
you called it
I'm sorry.
628.
I didn't call it 628, no, I did not. That's
That's what he said.
No,
That's what
no,
he told me.
no, I did
He
not.
said
He
that.
called it was 5 of 6 when he called me.
Yes, out of 6.
All right. Anybody else?
They, also with me, when I was not here, just so everybody knows, just so it's on the record and clear, remember, that was a rescheduled meeting. And what wound up happening is, it was 2 days later, I contacted Mary Alice and let her know there was a conflict with me, so I didn't cancel that day. It was right after it was rescheduled to that day. I know there was a lot of information going back and forth. I was saying, oh, he canceled that day. No, I didn't. I canceled when it got rescheduled because it was a reschedule and it conflicted with something that had to do with agriculture, maybe points and stuff. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Mr. Mark. All right, executive session.
Mary Alice, excuse me, just a report on the Recreation Committee, we kind of
Yeah,
flew
on
past
Monday.
that. Oh, you flew past that, we're doing it on Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to go to executive
Do
session.
you know how many from the building is the fall zone radius?
About 35.
35?
It's about a 1-to-1 ratio.
So 35 feet from the foundation of the building out? Is this too close? Has anybody measured where that?
All of us.
Is this too close?
Resolution 2024-59, resolution of the Township of Tabernacle authorizing the Township Committee to go into executive session. Whereas the Township of Tabernacle, hereinafter the Township, is subject to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-1 at the Act, which requires that its meetings be open to the general public. And whereas Section 10:4-12 of the Act permits the Township Committee to go into closed session, which is not open to the general public for certain limited purposes enumerated in that section. And whereas the Township Committee hereby desires to adopt this resolution to go into closed session at this time in order to discuss any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiation other than collective bargaining in which the township is or may become a party and/or any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege. And also discussing any matter involving the purchase, lease, acquisition of real property with public funds, the setting of bank rates or investment of public funds where it could adversely affect the public interest if disclosed. Related to the discussion on the purchase of 144 Carranza Road and the discussion on the status of handling of litigation BURL 77424 Tabernacle Historical Society et al. Versus Township of Tabernacle Committee. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and township committee have determined to enter into closed session for the reasons articulated above immediately after passage of this resolution. This resolution shall be kept on file for public inspection in accordance with statutory provisions. Be it further resolved, the minutes of said meeting shall be made available for disclosure to the public consistent with NJSA 10:4-13 when the items which are the subject of the closed session discussion are resolved and a reason for confidentiality no longer exists.
Again, motion to go to executive session.
Formal action may be taken after the executive session. Who made the motion?
Frank. Need a second? Roll call?
Who made the second?
Mr. Frank.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. With that, comments closed.